So, what if you could download 30 years of hard-won trading wisdom in just the next few minutes? We're going to do just that. We're distilling a pro's entire career into a survival guide. And let's be clear, this isn't about some get-rich-quick fantasy. This is about what it actually takes to stay in the game.
All right, let's kick things off with this warning from 30-year trading veteran JJ Kinahan. Seriously, burn this into your brain. These are, without a doubt, the most expensive words in finance. It sets the stage for everything, because it reminds you that in the market, your own emotions are your #1 enemy.
90%. Just look at that number. It's the statistic that haunts every single person who starts trading. It's the reason the industry has such a brutal reputation. But what does it actually stand for?
Well, here it is, the infamous 90-90-90 rule. 90% of traders lose 90% of their money in the first 90 days. That is the buzzsaw that most people run into. Our whole goal today is to figure out why that happens, and more importantly, how you can be one of the few who avoids it.
So, who's going to be our guide through this minefield? A guy named JJ Kinahan. And he's not some theorist. He came up in the old-school Chicago trading pits. I mean, picture it. Yelling, hand signals, hundreds of people packed together where only 1 out of 10 would still be there 6 months later. Yeah, he knows a thing or two about survival.
Okay, so how do you beat those insane odds? It all starts with a total mindset shift. You have to stop chasing the big wins and instead just focus on one thing: survival.
And this right here, this is the night and day difference. A beginner walks in and their brain is just screaming, "How much can I make?" But a professional, someone who's been humbled by the market a few times, they're obsessed with a totally different question: how do I stop losing? They know the profits will come if they can just stay in the game.
You gotta love how blunt this is. He's basically saying, look, you're gonna be bad at this when you start. It's like you wouldn't expect to be a chess grandmaster your first time playing, right? The goal isn't to be perfect. The goal is just to make your mistakes so small they don't take you out of the game while you're learning.
And that mindset, it leads us straight to the pro's golden rule. This is the practical, nuts and bolts advice for how you actually stick around.
So here's the playbook, step by step. And look how it starts, with a single contract, incredibly small. But then, check out step 2. The goal for the first 6 months is just to break even. Think about that, not profit, survival. That's where you build your system and prove you can do this. Only then, after you've proven you can hang, do you even think about trading bigger.
Now, all of this hinges on one huge concept: risk tolerance. And it's deeply personal. Kinahan tells a story about a colleague who can handle massive financial swings, no problem. But if he tried to trade that same way, he'd be a wreck. He'd panic and make terrible decisions. You have to know yourself. You have to find the number that lets you sleep at night. That's your line in the sand, and you never, ever cross it.
You know, once you figure out your personal risk, you have this aha moment. You realize the market isn't the real opponent. You are.
Okay, let's be honest. Who hasn't felt this, right? You place your trade, you set your stop loss, and then the market moves just enough to take you out, and then immediately reverses and goes your way. It feels like a setup. It feels personal. But is it?
So, Kinahan loves busting this myth. First off, just think about it logically. Some giant fund is not spending its time and money hunting for your $100 position. It makes no sense. What's really happening is way simpler. Thousands of people are all putting their stops in the exact same obvious places, right below those big round numbers like 50 or 100. It's not a conspiracy, it's just crowd psychology. Blaming a stop-loss hunter is just an easy way to avoid taking responsibility for the trade.
So no, the market doesn't have your name written on a whiteboard. But what it is brilliant at is finding the collective breaking point. It's this impersonal force that is designed to apply maximum psychological pressure. It finds the exact point where the most people will give up, and it tests your discipline, your fear, and your greed. That's the real test.
And that brings us to the key lesson. You can't control the market. It's like a force of nature. A pro understands their only job. The only thing they can control is their own actions and reactions. The entire game is played between your own 2 ears.
Okay, so if the battle is in your head, how do you actually win it? The answer is simple, but it's not easy. You build a system, a repeatable process. This is the firewall that separates the pros from the amateurs.
So what does a real system look like? It means you do all the work before you ever risk a penny. You've thought through every scenario. You know exactly where you're getting in, exactly where you'll cut your loss if you're wrong, and exactly where you'll take profits if you're right.
Having that plan removes emotion from the equation. And maybe the most important part? It gives you the discipline to do nothing, to just sit on your hands when your setup isn't there. That's a superpower.
Think of your system as your armor. It's your defense against that dangerous little voice in your head that whispers those 4 words we started with. This time is different. A good system tells that voice to shut up and just lets you follow the plan.
All right, let's bring this all home with one last thought from Kinahan. And honestly, this one insight kind of reframes the entire challenge of trading.
You know, it's easy to think you're competing against the smartest people in the world, against giant institutions. And you are, but that's not even the main event. The real competition, the one that really decides if you win or lose, is the one you fight against yourself every single day.
And that's really the final question, isn't it? The market is the ultimate competitive arena. But to survive and thrive in it, you have to shift your focus from beating the world to mastering yourself, your discipline, your emotions, your system. That is the real secret to being in the 10% who last.